Hello, welcome to my Welsh Riverbank. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been sunny all day, but there's that autumnal nip in the air. I'm sitting in the shelter down by the river. We were hit quite hard with Storm Callum last week. And the riverbank itself was flooded here for the first time in anybody's memory. So I feel really privileged to be able to sit here on the bank in the shelter that's still standing, to be able to read you an extract from the Flowerpot Witch. So at this point in the story, Lizzie likes George. She consults her tarot cards as a guide to the way that their relationship might progress. I hope you enjoy it. Half an hour later, dressed in thermals and umpteen layers of clothing, Lizzie gathered her entire collection of hot water bottles, 5 to be exact, wrapped them in a blanket and hurried down the garden. Cold air greeted her from the sanctuary. The single candle she lit on the altar between the arms of the goddess did little to warm the air. Hot water bottles distributed under her long fleece coat, Lizzie took out her cards from the box beneath the altar. She lay out her cloth and shuffled. One card wasn't enough, but which spread to choose? Her mind wandered back to her winter solstice ritual and her choice of a 7-pointed star rather than her usual pentacle to go on her altar. She shut her eyes, shuffled intently, and lay out a 7-card horseshoe spread. She kept her questions specific. I like George, but if we become a couple, will my life be a happy one? She was vindicated in her decision to choose a 7-card spread, as the first card, depicting the past, was the 7, the Chariot. On one level, Lizzie saw a man of power, obeying orders, a typical representation of the warlike Mars that corresponded with this card, and yet the man is only empowered by the horse and all the warlike trappings. Without his armour, and no longer part of the armed forces, the chariot wheels turn without him, and he is left behind. The second card, the 9 of Swords, was indicative of George in the present. Only he could free himself from the pain of the past, but right now it still haunted him. She sat back, watching the flickering flame in the arms of the goddess. George's past would be a big part of their relationship. Was she ready to take on someone else's baggage when she was chin deep in her own? She turned the 3rd card, but 2 had stuck together. Both were queens, one of swords and the other of wands. These were the hidden influences at work. One was graceful, cool in a crisis, alert to undercurrents and not to be underestimated, while the other was freedom-loving, active, practical and a lover of nature. They were the hidden influences, but who were these women? Were they part of her life or George's? Her hand trembling, she reached for the 4th card and turned over the 5 of Wands. It was the card depicting obstacles to be overcome, and she relaxed in the face of the challenge. She knew life with George would be challenging. No news there then. But maybe that was a way to live with him, challenging herself and him and becoming more competitive. He didn't want sympathy. She knew that. The 5th card was revealed, the 9 of Wands reversed. How did her cards turn themselves round? But she recognised the subtle difference. The right way up, the card was resilience, but reversed, it was obstinacy. Were these the attitudes of other people, or George, or herself? Lizzie wrapped her fleece coat closer, pulling the hot water bottles towards her body. What had she expected? Relationships were never easy. Why would she and George be any different? The 6th and 7th cards would reveal what she should do and the outcome if she continued on the path she'd chosen, to get closer to George and contemplate spending her life with him. They'd not known each other long, but there was something special about George. She couldn't hide her fondness for him from Rowan, but if he became part of her life too, Lizzie had to be sure he was more than a fling. The 2 of Swords revealed itself in the candlelight, a friendship at a time of adversity, and an ally on whom she could depend. Was this George, or Lou, or Richard? The 7th and final card was the 6 of Cups, all about memory and a link to the past. Her past, or George's, or both. Efforts in the past would be rewarded, or did the answer to a specific question lie in a similar situation in the past? She gathered her cards, her breath of fog in front of her. At least the cards were minor arcana, giving her the opportunity to take her life in her own hands. She folded the cloth, placing it in the box with her cards on top before closing the lid. Thrills ran down her spine. The possibilities for the evening before her were of her own making, and she'd make sure she was present for every moment. Thanks so much for listening. I'm sorry about the pinging. I've just been on a Skype call and people are still pinging back at me. Sorry about that. I hope it didn't detract from the extract for the Flowerpot Witch. You can find all my books under my author page on Amazon, or you can go to my website, wendysteele.com, for books, dancing, healing, plant-based recipes and pixie coats. Hopefully you'll get in touch and we'll be able to meet online. Be lovely to do that. Take care. See you soon from my Welsh Riverbank. Bright blessings. Bye.